yoga hammock today. So if you close up on this fabric here, you're gonna see that there's a dotted line. So the dotted line, when a hammock is brand new, is the machine cut edge. And then you are gonna look at the other side of this hammock and it's gonna be just a cut, curled edge. So that it's usually visible. Sometimes when you have black hammocks or darker hammocks, it's not visible. Usually with the lighter ones it is though. So there's a big difference between these two edges of the silk, and this is really important that you select the right side. So the side that doesn't have the dots is very stretchy. It doesn't have any resistance. And then the side that has the dotted lines, the machine cut, is the side with all of the tension that can take the human weight. So you have to make sure you pick the right side when you're gathering up a silk. So obviously the dotted edge is going to be the side that you want down to be the loop that you're sitting in, because that is going to support all of your weight. You would not want to sit in the side that has the stretch, because the hammock will literally just rip when you sit in it. So that means we're going to be gathering up the stretchy side to put into the equipment so that this dotted edge is down. So you're going to have to zoom in on my hand now to see exactly what I'm doing here. Okay. So I'm taking the edge of the stretchy side, the corner, and I'm going to start to gather it. And you're trying to line up the gather. You're like fanning it so that it's very even, right? Because if I did it uneven like this, and then I rigged it, when someone sat in the hammock, the side that was the lowest would start to come out. Does that make sense, right? So this is the part when you're new to this that is gonna end up taking you like a half hour. I'm gonna do it slow at first so that you guys can see what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna do it quickly because I've been doing this for 10 years, so I am efficient at it now. But if you guys try this, you're gonna be, realizing it's taking you quite a bit of time. And I usually do this standing, because I hold it up like this so that everything's kind of laying, but I'm doing this just for demonstration purposes, because everyone keeps asking me how to rig a hammock. So I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. So I'm kind of feeding it with this hand. Sometimes when you get hammocks that are new, they're curled, and so you're uncurling it with your hand before you're gathering it. So the more level you can get this, the longer your rigging's gonna last. It's not foolproof. This is just initially what you have to do. It used to be foolproof when people really took their time to cut the silks at the factory, but now they cut them very quickly, and they're not always, they don't always arrive even. They arrive like really jagged and uneven. So there's gonna be a couple additional steps to this rigging process because of that. So this isn't coming out perfect because I'm seated versus standing. If I was standing, this would be a lot straighter. But for video purposes, I want you guys to be able to zoom in. Okay. So once I gather the entire thing, it's gonna look like a carnation. Okay, and because I wasn't standing, this is not completely even. So when it's a little bit uneven, you can kind of come through and just gently even it out a little bit, or you can start over. Just trying to get it like as even as you can. If anything's like really sticking in, you're trying to get it level. So this is pretty close to what you want it to look like a little carnation flower. Okay. So then at this point, I'm gonna have to stand up. You guys can just zoom in on my hand. I have to stand up and kind of comb it out. Okay, so then once I have all this straight, take it like that. Bring it down to the floor. So I put my knee on it before I release it. It's keeping it in place. I use these little mini runners. Bring the tag in towards me as I place it under. Okay, so then I want this to, once it's nice and flat, I want this to loop around not once but twice. Okay, and then just making sure everything is even here. Once I do that, I want to go and take this tag and make an X and cross this underneath one of these. Then it's going to go through this loop. And if it's done correctly, it should look just like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna have to do that to the other side. And then the next step is gonna be sliding this down to get an even amount of tails. So if you guys take your camera up to the silk, so once I would clip this hammock up, I would start sliding the edges there and feeding the tails until they were even, and then tying the knots in the end, like you see at the hammock up there with the knots. And then once I secured the knots, then I would be adding the carabiners and daisies and fixing everything. So I'm probably have to make a separate video for that because all this takes time and it's just gonna be too long of a video. But at least you get the first part of the rigging in this video, so.